This is a very quick video to show you some of the additional commands that you might want to use in AutoCAD. So start a brand new drawing here and set it up so that we can save it to whatever the assignment is for this class. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at additional fonts that we can use with multi-line text and also the hatch command and the basics of that, along with bringing images into AutoCAD. So getting started here, when you, after you save the file, right? So we did that already. You can go into multi-line text, which we've used up to this point, and click a point, pull your mouse over and click another point. We started to work with multi-line text and placed it and changed the height of it. So now let's take a look at all these different functions here. You can change the formatting, you can change justification. Similar to a Word document, you can create columns uh, and do some editing here. But what I'd like you to look at is what's underneath the @ symbol where it says symbol. So drop that down, that list down, and we did use in one of the assignments the percentage D for degrees and P for plus minus, but the one we used was this diameter, percentage C. So you can either click on this one to get your diameter in there, or you can type in percentage C. But this time go all the way down to other. And what you'll see is a whole dialog box full of different characters that you can use and several fonts that have different characters. So it's kind of fun, and I found some of these arrows and things to be helpful to me in my drawings. Under wingdings, there are three different types of wingding characters. Um, so there's wingdings, then 2 and 3. So if I just pick on wingdings, you'll see that there are all these different kind of unique characters that you can bring in. And like I said, I've used some of these arrows, which are very helpful. So I'm going to show you the process. Here, we can double click on any one of these, and you see how it puts it in the characters to copy. Or you can pick select if you'd like to highlight one of these and then pick select. So there are all these different symbols that you can use on your AutoCAD drawing. Um, if you like. And there are three different wingding fonts, which have really um, pretty unique characters. So once you get it in this characters to copy box, you can pick copy. And it basically just copies it to the clipboard. Nothing happens. It doesn't look like anything's happened. So now we can click inside this text box that we created. You've got the blinking cursor there. You can right click and pick paste. And there they are. They're pasted into place. Now, because we've done this before, you can, or I'll show you now, you can highlight those characters. And this is kind of tricky. You have to click on those numbers at the top left side and type in the number that you want for the height. So this is 0.2 or whatever it is. If I type in something small like 0.4 and press enter, you see how it gets a little bit bigger. So I just wanted to show you that we do have some character map, other symbols that you can get to under under the fonts. Now we can click in space and you have your little um, symbols there. The other command that I'd like to show you is the hatch command. Of course, we will be creating layers for the hatch and layers possibly for the multi-line text. So when we're creating the hatch tool or using the hatch command, we need some closed shapes. Closed shapes like rectangles or lines that are closed back to the beginning. If there's a little gap in there, then the pattern that fills into that space, the hatch pattern, will try to look for for that closed shape. So I think to start off here, we'll just draw maybe some circles. It doesn't matter how big they are. Go to circle center radius if you like. Click a point, pull your mouse out, click another point. And then also a rectangle possibly because that is all one shape. There it is. Click a point, pull your mouse out, and click another point. And you can draw several of these if you'd like, just as a quick way to show you these tools. I'm going to go over here to Hatch. It's up in the Draw panel at the bottom right corner of the Draw panel. I'll go ahead and click on Hatch. So the whole ribbon changes like it did for the multi-line text. And by default, we're picking points, but one of the options is also to select objects. We have all these patterns that we can use. And if you click on this little arrow here at the bottom of the pattern palette, you can scroll down and see all these different patterns. The ones that start with AR are going to be a bigger scale because they're architectural, so the drawing would, of course, be bigger. If we use just the default here, the ANSI 31, if you go inside the shape, you can see the the pattern and it kind of fills the boundary. And so you see I haven't clicked yet, so it's not applied. But if I go ahead and click, now it's in there. And up here in properties, you can change the scale. It's underneath the angle there, just above properties. Right now it's 1. So if I put something like 3 in there and press enter, you see how it gets to be like a bigger scale or a smaller scale, depending on the hatch. And also you can either type in the angle. See, the angle for these 45-degree hatch patterns is actually set at 0. So you can either type in the angle or you can hold your left mouse button down and slide it here along this track where it says angle. So here, notice that because it's set at 0, if I use a 45-degree angle, it's going to be straight up and down. Okay, so if I start to pick in other closed shapes, you're going to have that same pattern. And I just wanted to show you this option that I think is very helpful to know. By default, when you start to pick more than one closed boundary, it's all one piece, all the same hatch. So the hatch pattern in the square, rectangle, and in the circle would be all one hatch. So if you wanted to make them separate, there is a command here for creating separate hatches. I would recommend using this if you're placing crosshatch throughout your whole drawing. Crosshatches represents materials, but it also represents a section cut through a detail. So if you're cutting through metal, most of the time you're going to get one of these ANSI patterns, 31, 32, and depending on the graphics for that. But if you have a whole sheet of details and you're working with different section cuts and you're showing the hatch patterns, you want to create separate hatches there. Okay, another kind of cool hatch pattern is this gradient. Gradient will um, make something look like it's kind of like more circular. So I think what we'll do here is keep this one and as one of the ANSI patterns, and then click on the green check mark to close the hatch so that we know that that one's applied. And now we can go back to the hatch pattern and change this to this gradient. And maybe this time I'll use one of these, the sphere here, the gradient sphere, and go inside this circle. You see how it looks like it's kind of like curved? You can play around with that a little bit. I went ahead and clicked. but you might actually also change the colors if you'd like to have black and white here. Um, it kind of looks more curved. So we have a lot of different hatch patterns. I'm going to go ahead and you can either enter or you can pick the green check mark there to close out of the hatch pattern. But even after you've placed the hatch and you're back at your command line, you can go back over here and click on the hatch and the whole ribbon changes so that you can edit it. So you can change it at this point to whatever you'd like. So I just wanted to give you kind of the basics of placing hatch. The last thing you want to do is like don't if you don't need to, let's not explode our hatch patterns because then all of these lines become individual lines. I mean, it is an option, but not recommended. Okay, so the hatch pattern is a great tool to work with. The other thing that is an additional tool I wanted you to experience is being able to insert an image into your drawing. So go ahead online and save an image to the folder that you're working out of. You can go online and do a search for whatever you'd like to use. And when you find the image, you can click on it and to get into it at some point, and then right click and pick Save Image As, and then save it to your folder. Now we can insert several different types of images like JPEGs and GIF files and all these different ones that I'll show you here as we're going to insert our images. Okay, so grab an image and come on over to the Insert tab, which is at the top left corner in AutoCAD, and then pick the Attach icon right there, Attach. Navigate over to the folder that you actually put this file into so that you can, or the folder that you put the file in. Like I went ahead and grabbed this file as an image file, but I've used this several times for different products as you can put it on the sheet and show the image of the product that you're using, the tool that you're working with, or as a background for architectural projects. You can really get some good graphics in there, um, or even people or whatever it is, a part that you're working with, and you want to show the image of it. One time I actually used an image to uh, do a presentation. I brought the image in and then I put text and cross hatching and arrows and all kinds of things around it, and the people could see, really visualize the project itself. So here, when I'm in this dialog box, you can drop this files of types image list down and see all the different images that we can bring into this drawing, additional images as we go forward. There are quite a few. Go with all images and give it a try, and you'll see that JPEGs and GIFs and several others are going to be allowed into the AutoCAD screen. Let's go ahead and pick open. And now in this dialog box, this is the way that we're attaching the image. If you put the image in the same folder, then you can pick for the path type, no path. If you pick relative path, it'll look for the folder that it's in and all the different folders up to that one folder, that the main folder that it's in. And if you create it based on the full path, then then it'll read all the way back through the whole uh, folder structure. Now, the other thing that's important about bringing an image in is that it's not connected, it's not embedded in the file. So it's only a path to where it's located, um, which is important because it's kind of like a link, right? So if you delete the image or if you move it to a different folder, then the next time you open up the drawing, you won't see the image. It'll actually say that it can't be found. So that's why I would recommend that you always put the images in the same folder as your drawing so that it's easier to find and manage. If you're working with a team of people that are using it, make sure everyone knows that you need to leave that or in the folder, or you can repath it. There is a way of repathing it so that if it's not found, you can repath it back to see it where it was relocated. Okay, so pick no path, and we'll just keep the other defaults like the insertion point. We're going to click a point. The scale is going to be 1 to 1, and the rotation will be 0. Let's go ahead and pick OK. And now here it's asking for an insertion point, so I'm going to click a point. You can pull your mouse up, and you're actually just establishing a scale factor. I'm going to go ahead and click, and there's your image. So right now, because it wasn't scanned with advanced technologies to bring it in as a vector image, and that is actually possible if you bring in a scanned image that was created originally as individual vectors. You could change a hand sketch to an AutoCAD drawing. That's where it gets to be very, very helpful for us. But at this point, when you bring an image in by default, you can only select the frame of it. And by selecting the frame, you can use these grips to make it bigger or smaller. And you can like move it around, you can rotate it, and you can even crop it. So if you escape out of that and you pick clip. Clip is the icon next to attach. If you click on clip and then select the boundary of your drawing, you can see that what we're doing is we're going to be creating a new boundary. So the clip is only like cropping the image. It's still there, but you can turn on and off the clip. You can even delete it to get your original image back. But what we'll do real quick is just create a new boundary. So if I click on new boundary right there, you can see that there are a lot of different ways of creating a new boundary. So you can actually create a polyline and then select the polyline. You can draw a polygon to create your shape, but we'll just go ahead and use the default rectangular. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter to accept rectangular. And then if I pick a first corner and a second corner right there, you see how it crops it. But it's actually, the image is still there. So you could go back to clip and select here the boundary and be able to turn on and off the clip. Just wanted to show you that you can bring an image into AutoCAD and you can crop and clip it to get around it with some accuracy or by using the polygon or create a polyline and then select that to fill it with your image. I actually created a family tree using AutoCAD. I had several apples and then I created those as polylines and brought the images in and it kind of like filled the polyline. So if you have a situation where you need the image to fill a specific boundary, create your own polyline and then use select polyline to select that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this. As long as you bring in an image, then and look at clipping it, I'm good with you experiencing it. The other one last thing I wanted to mention is that if you brought in an image and you didn't want this frame to print, you want to type in image frame. It's all one word, image frame. Press enter, and then instead of it being 1 and on, I'm going to type in 0 and enter. You can barely see it there, but you can kind of see that that blackness is turned off. And any image, that frame will be turned off so that when you print it, you won't have that black frame. Okay, so those are the three things I wanted you to like put into this drawing and submit. Put some of this these characters in there, multi-line text to go through that experience, place a hatch pattern, and insert an image. Awesome. Okay, then have a good one and keep in touch with me. Just wanted to point out a few other things that are within AutoCAD that you might want to use for your projects.